Hello again, welcome to this week's video. Keep taking the tablets and we're still exploring the 10 Commandments and we're up to Commandment number 5. And we can read in Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12, "Honour your father and mother, then you will live a long, full life in the land the Lord is giving you." Let's have a look and see what that means. So this week, I want to start off by sharing with you an app on your phone that could save your life. You may have heard of this app before. It's called What 3 Words. What the app does is it divides every part of the planet into squares that are 3 meters by 3 meters. And each of those squares on the earth and indeed in the wet bits have 3 words attached to them that helps you to identify them. Why do we need this? Well, postcodes aren't always very precise. Of course, a lot of places a postcode is meaningless because it's a field or a forest or something like that. And even if you've got a map, people aren't always brilliant at reading maps and being able to work out their coordinates to send if they get into trouble. What the app does is, if you've got your phone with you, it uses your satellite signal to place you into this 3-meter square that you can then pass on to, for example, the emergency services. And they can come very accurately, know where you are and rescue you or whatever it is that you need. A really, really useful app. What does it look like to use in real life? Well, here's some examples from this area that show you how the app would help you find certain places. Want to get somebody to the sanctuary entrance? Bumpy brains shunts. Seriously. My desk? Fired quest mercy. Wormstow patch. The Studio 4 entrance. You want to find Pastor Claire's desk? Pretty straightforward. Mute comb analogy. And if you'd like to find my safe where all my valuables are kept, that's don't have one. Why am I talking about this? I want to try and get an idea across to you that in 3 words we have a real potential to unlock God's blessing and God's fullness in our lives. Honour your parents. Why am I saying that? You may have heard people say about this commandment that it's the first commandment with a promise, and that's true. In honouring your parents, you are promised a full and long life. If you look at Deuteronomy 5, where the commandments are repeated, it sort of extends it a little bit, full and long life in the land the Lord has given you. Now, okay, this was written for the Israelites just before they go into the promised land. But actually, one of the things that we learn from the Bible is that God has a promised land, if you like, for all of us, a plan and a purpose for our life that He wants to lead us into. So what's the secret to having a full and long life in this promised land? Honour your parents. So God's going to give us 10 instructions for life, 10 ways to have the best life that we can have. And He's included this instruction. It must be important. It's in God's top 10. Why is it so important to honour parents? I mean, after all, parents aren't perfect. They're human beings. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to get things wrong as parents and in any other role that they have. Why is it so important to honour them? Well, one of the things is that parents are the first people that we learn to honour and respect their authority. And you'll often find that if people don't honour their parents, they never get that sense of honour and respect for authority, and it can get them in quite a bit of trouble. Our parents are there to try and do their best for us, to prepare us for life when we're independent and for all of the things that they've already been through and experienced. In Luke chapter 2 and verse 51, we read that Jesus was obedient to His parents. It's very easy just to kind of read that and sort of bounce over it, not think too much about it. But let's think about it for a minute. Mary was not perfect. Joseph was not perfect. But God had entrusted them to bring Jesus up. And Jesus honoured them and was obedient to them. The creator of the heavens and earth was obedient to his fallen, imperfect parents. Now, I know you could say, well, Joseph isn't really Jesus' parent, and that's true, but he's in that role as a father. He's there teaching his son a trade. He's doing all the things that a father should do, and Jesus is obedient to him in that. Jesus isn't just saying it, Jesus lived it. If you don't learn to honour your parents, you're likely to become the sort of person who says things like, nobody tells me what to do, I'm my own boss. And that can actually give us real problems. If we don't honour and understand authority, we can have real issues in our lives, and not just with our parents. This can actually affect our relationship with God. If we've not learned to honour our parents, who we can see in front of us and talk to and experience, how on earth are we going to understand how to honour God, how to respect authorities around us? We're putting ourselves in a really difficult position. We're compromising our enjoyment of life. If you think about it, disobeying your parents is a sort of part of a learning process that we all go through, and we learn about consequence, and we learn as we are obedient to our parents and we honour them that they can give us more and more freedom. The son or daughter who is back when they say they're going to be back is trusted with more and more things, because parents want their kids to grow and to be able to move on as adults. It's really, really important that we understand that honour and respecting our parents is actually a really positive thing for us to move on in our own lives. Eventually we become independent of our parents, but we may still seek their advice on certain things and have them involved in our lives and respect the knowledge and the care and the love that they've shown us. For most of us, it isn't hard to honour our parents. Yeah, they make mistakes. Yes, they often do things that perhaps we don't really understand. But we understand that they've got our interests at heart and they care for us. Honouring them is not usually a hardship. It can just be difficult because we're naturally programmed to be rebellious, and sometimes we think we know better. Let's think about the side of this that's probably the most difficult and challenging thing. What about people who have parents who, instead of helping them and trying their best for them, are actually abusive, hurtful? Let's be honest, we live in a fallen world and that happens. For most of us, the biggest issue with our parents is that they won't let us do exactly what we want to do and they won't buy us exactly what we want. But for other people, the issue is so much more profound and so much more difficult for us to think about. How can people who have abusive parents, for example, honour their parents? Should they be expected to? Well, what about this? The Bible says that honouring parents is for our blessing. Notice that this verse doesn't say doing this blesses the parents. It says it's for you to have a long life in the land the Lord has given you. So what does that mean for somebody who's got a parent who falls far short of the ideal? Well, what does honouring a parent look like in that situation? Praying for them. Praying for them and hoping to see a change in their life. Hoping to see them accept the Lord perhaps, or get a new revelation of God in their lives to change their behaviour. Perhaps it means not talking about them in a negative way unnecessarily. Perhaps it means, if they've got some strengths, asking them to help you in certain areas where you know they're capable, and leaving other areas where you know they've got difficulty. What else can we say about it? This isn't a license for parents to get away with doing something wrong. Parents are accountable. They should be accountable through the law, and they're accountable to God for what they've done. This isn't a get out of trouble free pass. Parents who do things wrong should be dealt with by the authorities. What are we saying then? If you can find a way to forgive your parents, that's going to release in you blessings in the promise that God has called you to. It doesn't mean that your parents aren't accountable for what they've done wrong. It means that you can break free of the cycle that they've created. If you wanted an example of Noah's finest hour, you definitely wouldn't find it in Genesis chapter 9 and starting at verse 20. Here we see Noah, the one who made the ark, naked and drunk. He's found by his sons, and one of the sons, Ham, mocks his father as he lays there and is very critical. The other two sons are very different in their response. They grab a covering and they walk backwards into the place where their dad is laying, and they lay the blanket over him. Why do they do that? They walk him backwards so they don't see their father in his shameful state. They honour him. They don't approve of what he's done. They're not saying that what he's done is okay, but they honour their father and they cover him without seeing him in his shameful state. What's the consequence of this for the brothers? Well, Ham and his descendants suffer because of this lack of honour for the parents. But the other two sons, they actually prosper. Honouring Noah blessed them. I guess you could say it blessed Noah a bit as well, because let's be honest, he's now covered up. That's a bonus. But the long-term blessing is for the sons who honoured their parents. Find a way to honour your parents, even if that's praying for them and forgiving them. Find a way to honour them, because those three words, honour your parents, are words that locate you right slap bang in the middle of God's blessing, that you will live a full and long life in the promise that God has for you.